Hey guys, yesterday we learned about standard form, or also known as general form, of the quadratic equation. Today we're going to look at what's called vertex form. This form tells us some things right away, including the vertex, just when we look at it. So I have the same equation we've been working with, which is f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 6x plus 20. So in factored form, what that actually looks like, well, the algebraic factored form would be a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. Yes, write all of this down in another one of your squares. So we put standard form in one square, we're going to put vertex form in another square. So the algebraic form is that with the equation we've been working with, which is, I'll put it down at the bottom, negative 2x squared plus 6x plus 20. It's in your other square that you worked on yesterday. In factored form, what that would look like is f of x equals negative 2, because that's my a value, right? X minus 1.5 squared plus 24.5. If you take a second and look at yesterday's work from standard form, you can find that information in your vertex, right? So what are the first things I notice about this form? Does this equation open upward or open downward? Well, it opens down because of the negative 2 in the place of the a. The a value tells me if it's negative that it's going to open downward, or negative because you frown. If you're negative all the time, you frown. So it's a downward graph. The vertex I can see pretty quick, because I guess that's why we call it vertex form, huh? The vertex is going to be the opposite of what's inside the parentheses. So 1.5, we change it to a positive. If you're stuck inside the house with a crazy x, you want to run the other way. That's how I remember. If you're stuck inside the parentheses with your crazy x, you want to go the opposite. So it becomes a positive 1.5. That's my x value. And then my y value, remember my y-intercept is just my c. So 24.5. So the vertex is literally the opposite of what's in the x. It's whatever would make that 0. And the k value, which in the standard form is your c. Then we're going to look at our axis of symmetry. All right, the axis of symmetry, we also abbreviate it as AOS, but I'll write out axis of symmetry. Our axis of symmetry is the h value. It is also the x value in our vertex. So we can literally just say x equals 1.5. That's my axis of symmetry. Now let's talk about what each of the letters in the algebraic form mean. Let me see if I can get a different color here. Don't have a lot of options. Oh, we can do white. So we're going to talk about what the A, the H, and the K mean in this form. The A is to stretch or compress. Ooh, I almost didn't make it on there. Okay, so to stretch or compress, we're going to, the number in the place of the A, if it is a number greater than 1 or less than, if it's a whole number, say it's -7 or +7, we know that that is going to make the curve of the parabola skinnier, right? If it's a fraction or a decimal, that is going to stretch it out. The H value, because it's inside the parentheses, it does the opposite. Remember that. And I know we talked about this with different forms, but it moves left or right. So it takes the graph on the coordinate plane and moves it left or right. So moves graph left and right. Or right. If it's, remember it does the opposite. So if it's positive, it's going to move left. If it's negative, it's going to move right. Only because it's in the parentheses. And the way I remember that is whatever that X value is right now, right there, it's what makes the H to 0. So it's going to do the opposite. Or you can remember, if you're stuck in the house with your crazy X, you run the opposite direction. But the one that's outside, the K, that one doesn't go opposite. It's already out of the house. The K moves the graph up or down. And it does it exactly like you would expect. If it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. So that is everything I think you need to know about the vertex form. This is the information you can get from a vertex form right away. So if I look at it, I immediately can get the vertex. I can tell whether it is positive or negative, whether it opens up or down, and I can get that axis of symmetry. Make sure you've written down all these notes on your paper because, again, this is going to be a test grade for the whole paper. So, and this is part 2 of that paper.